You've got to have the right attitude with this, and some people just haven't got it. You know, I do know that of an odd competition angler, you know, who they're beaten before they've even got there. But you've always got, as a compang, you've always got to have the mindset, you know, yeah, I'm going to go and I'm going to do well. Can't be too arrogant about it and go, oh yes, I'm gonna win it, no problem at all, because that doesn't happen. You know, bluffing can only get you so far. Even when you're having a bad championship, you've got to just keep digging in and keep fighting.
Okay. Team Australia. Perfect. Team Mongolia.
Yeah.
Good. Team Polska, Poland. Portugal. England.
Yeah.
Beat number 12, Finland. Beat number 13, Ireland. Beat number 14, England. Beat number 15 is Sweden.
Everything in the car? Good choice.
Yeah, it's a good place.
We come back to the car, show us what we need.
So we can cross now, and then look.
Yes.
Not that way. The beat doesn't look like it's been one of the beats that's produced the 20s, which had been what you've needed to be in the top sort of 3 to 5. It's had 2 good anglers and 1 reasonable angler on it, and they've only had a 10, a 6 and a 5, so it's sort of declining. I'm going to fish. I'm going to take 2 rods. I'm going to take a single nymph and a dry dropper. A light dry dropper. I'm probably going to go right to the edges with a light dry dropper and occasionally drop with a single nymph into the deeper stuff, or if I can find any cavities where they might be. I'll try a little bit in the middle, see if I can find one that's been missed, but most of it will be to the bank, so it'll probably be a lot of getting stuck, a lot of getting broken. Depending on how good a job I make of it, but we'll see. The river's changed through the competition, and it doesn't always change in the way you think it changes, because yes, they're getting more pressure. So we're in day 4 now. They've had 3 days of potentially very good anglers fishing to them. So those fish are more pressured. But things change. The weather changes, which is a big one. Water heights change, which is a big one. So things change. So although the fishing is getting technically harder on some of the river beats, some of them won't have been fished very well. People have made mistakes and left fish behind. You might get a day of good conditions and fly hatching. All the fish come out from under the rocks and start feeding. You know, it's a dynamic environment, so it's really, really hard to say, you know, this beat is going to be harder because it's been fished for 3 days in a row. It might be better, just because of the conditions. You just don't know.
Okay, well.
From the information we had, the Tête was the venue with more fish in it, and that seemed to be the case, but not the big numbers that they'd all said it would be. So the first beat I had, nice, beautiful looking water, but very much a case of not everywhere that home would definitely have a fish in, not everywhere had a fish. So I fished at a pace to try and get and fish it all, to try and get myself in front of as many fish as I could, and I did catch quite a few. I lost a few fish as well. I did a good bit of some nice angling, if you like, where I managed to get the fly into some pretty difficult places and pull an odd extra fish out. I sight fished to a couple that I could see on the bottom and caught those. It was definitely better than the Victor saw.
c'est dommage. Difficult, difficult fish. Yes, yes.
Blown all the catering budget on one sandwich.
Got to be fairly happy with that.
I am now, yeah. I'm just annoyed that it's taken till the last day being on the river to work anything out for this river. We've had some bad results off here, and I've picked 3 things up there in that session which would have made a giant difference really. But
Which are?
the first thing was I would have told the lads to just fish it all with a single nymph. Single was way better, less snags, less tangling, more control. Which I fish single nymph a lot, but one of the main things was putting it in, get a good tight contact drift with it straight away. If you didn't get one there, put it in, go vertical over the sighter and let it drop right in and walk it past you into the face of some rocks. And if you didn't get one doing that, throw it in and let it drop slack, then come tight to it. And if there was a fish there, they would more or less have it. The other thing I worked out as well was, if there was a 26, 27 centimetre fish, there was possibly a 20 or a 22 there. If you got a 20 or a 19.5, there was nothing there other than that one. So if there was a big one, there could have been another smaller measurer with it. If there was a small measurer, probably not worth fishing again. So I've just blasted up that. I've still not made it to the top. And yeah, I've had 8 fish, and I think the most that's come off this beat in the previous 3 days is 4, I think. So it's been good. think 12 yesterday was good enough for, might have been top 3 yesterday, but totally different day. Depends who gets what beats and all that stuff. So we'll see. I'm just glad to have gone out on a little bit of a high after having such tough sessions on the rivers.
How many worlds did you have to do to get yourself into that headspace that doesn't matter how bad stuff might be going for you, that every session is you go into it like a nude?
I think, to be honest, that is just a little bit of my personality, because I don't like giving up, even if I'm having a horrendous competition, which I have been having, to be honest. It just becomes, for me personally, it just becomes a point to prove. I just don't like lying down and giving in. And the thing is, the reason I fish these things is to learn stuff. At the end of the day, I've learned a load more from this that I didn't know, before I fished over here, and that will make me a better angler again. And I've got no doubt when I get back home, I'll get plenty of flack from the Facebook warriors, about having 2 bad results in the world so far, and for the lads not having good results. But at the end of the day, we're all here. We've all learned a load more, and we do it because we love competing. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. 2 good sessions now, 2 terrible ones. 1 more tomorrow, and then that's it, and then I can have a lie in. You've got to have the right attitude with this, and some people just haven't got it. I do know that of an odd competition angler, who they're beaten before they've even got there. They say, oh no, it's in France. Everyone's going to get, you're all going to get butchered. The French will win. Well, yeah, we might do, but at least I'm willing to go and fight for it and have a go. And I think I've come out of that one in 5th. So I've pretty much gone from 20th, so 18th, 20th, 6th and now 5th, which I think in itself tells a story, because as we're working out the fishing, as I'm being able to see it and experience it firsthand on the thing, my results are just improving. So that shows how important it is, if you can, to get there the year before. It does make a big difference, and hopefully tomorrow, which is the last day, again, we'll have another better result. I'm finishing on the lake. I think I've got the measure of the lakes now, so I'm hopeful for a good result tomorrow. In most championships I've fished, certainly over the last few years, I've nearly always managed to finish in the top 3 or win a session or top 5. And at the minute, going into the last session tomorrow, I've had a 6th and a 5th. So I'd like to improve again from that. A lot of personal pride at stake. It's the last session and I'm on the lakes. Again, another one of the big walks, and it is taking its toll. 4 AM starts. Yeah, starting to get fatigued now. But it's the last day, so we'll rally and just push on, and I'll try and finish as strong as I can.
Bosnia, Vladimir beat 14. England, Howard beat 15. Czech Republic, František beat 16.
On passe là.
D'accord, ok.
Après, là.
Et ok.
Après, 6,
Ouais.
14. En dernier.
Okay. What does it look like? 3rd lake, so you're not up top.
I'm not up top now, no.
Nope. And then 2nd session, you're 1 above. 3rd session, you're 2nd lake up. 4th session, you're bottom lake, I think.
Okay, so I'm not in the highest one.
Not first, no.
If you guys need a break.
going to set single dry, 2 duo rods, a short one and a long one, and a pulling rod for later on. I think the first one I had about half a lake to myself, and the two main features, there was a river coming in and a river going out, and because it was the morning session I had to decide where to start. I had a little bit of a walk around and a bit of a look. Good. And either the river coming in or the river going out were the two main things, but where the river went out there was a big weed bed as well, and just to the far side of the weed bed it was shallow and there was a big rock in the middle of it. And on balance, when I was looking at it, my decision making of where to start was that I reasoned, you know, at times where the river went in there would be fish there waiting for food to be brought in by the stream, but because it was early in the morning there was nothing hatching. I reasoned that the funnel, i.e. where the river was pulling out, would be a better place to go, because anything that was windblown and was hitting the water would all be funneled eventually down to that point. And with there being weed beds near it and a rock as well, it was hiding structure, so that's where I started, and that turned out to be a good move because I caught 2 or 3 fish I think from where the water went out. And towards the end of the session I saw a fish rise over where the stream went in, so I ran all the way around and I had a little fish over there, and I did actually miss it. I don't think I got it. So the first one wasn't too bad. We've got to climb a mountain. Going up there. On the second one I went right up into this little small lake at high altitude. It was shallow and clear, but there was some feeding fish. And I caught quite a few around some weed beds in the edge, and I caught a few at long range. I lost a few as well. I was getting a little bit too trigger happy bringing them in. I was trying to keep them up over the weed and stripping them in fast, and I should have just slowed down a little bit. And to be honest, again with hindsight, what I should have done there was when I was fishing at long range, the first few I tried to strike them, and that was the wrong approach. What I should have done was just let them swirl it, because they were actually quite aggressive takes. I should have just let them swirl it and waited for it to go tight instead of striking, because a lot of the time they were downing it and then swimming back round to eat it, or downing it and eating it straight away. So I did, being trigger happy there cost me a few fish, because as soon as I started to just leave it until the line went tight, I didn't lose another one. This might be tricky. Totally different, this. I've just seen a fish rise. God for that. My third beat was really nice. It had a big cliff in it, and a great big weed bed with a channel between the bank and the weed bed, and I could see fish cruising. Some of them were quite big as well. And right at the far end there was another little rock face, and the weed bed came closer to the bank, so I went up there. And I just sat on the bank for a little while and watched, and I did see a fish rise in the little clearing between where the weeds actually stopped and the bank started, and I got one almost straight away again on the dry. And then I fished blind into there for a little bit and I got another one, and then I think I got another one, and then I went a little bit further down and I actually sight fished some fish with the nymph, and I lost a really big fish on the nymph there. Certainly probably one of the biggest fish I'd hooked in the comp. It was a really good, it was maybe a 3 or 4 pound brown trout. And yeah, I just picked away in that one. It was a really enjoyable session, that one. I caught some nice fish, and a lot of it was sight fishing. I could actually see them coming up from the bottom to the dry, so you've got that excitement and that nervousness of seeing them come for a long way through clear water. And that water's so clear that sometimes you think, why is it not eating it yet? And it's actually because it's still swimming, because you lose your perception of actually how far it's got to go. that's when you can miss them really easily sometimes. And luckily I didn't really miss too many at all.
Nice, Howard. Keep it going on the last one. That'll do. That was good. I lost one of them really big fish.
Did you?
Yeah, I stuck him with a nymph.
When I was moving out from the third session down to the last session, I actually went past a friend of mine out of the Spanish team, and I asked him, and we were on about the same number of fish. So I thought, okay, well the Spanish guys have done really well on the lake, so if I'm neck and neck with him, I'm probably not too far off. And went down to the bottom lake, and I had an absolutely massive piece of water.
He said, so it goes from that end of the lake to the other end. Do you want to put your stuff in the middle and walk down, or
So
how?
it's the whole bank?
Yes, just pour.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it was different to everything else I'd fished, and I'd not seen anything else like it, and I'd seen nothing like it in practice. So I was a little bit unsure what to do with it, to be honest.
50 minutes.
Perfect. Maybe for the sandwich?
Oui. What's for lunch?
It's raw sausage and some dry bread. Fantastic.
So I had a good walk up and down it, and it had a very, very wide marginal shelf that went out probably about 15-20 yards in places, and probably at its closest about 10 yards, which dropped off the deep blue. But I found some fish. It actually proved to be a bit of a red herring, because I carefully stalked my wheel on the bank looking, and I spotted 6 good fish right in the sides, and they were feeding as well. And I thought, right, if I go to the far end of this beat and I very carefully creep my way along, I'm going to be able to sight fish enough of these fish to finish with a strong result. I did that, and it just really didn't work. I had some problems with the angle of light. I couldn't quite see well enough. I could see, but I was seeing them too late. Some of those fish were actually buried under the bank. When I went to start fishing, they'd actually stopped feeding and they'd gone under the bank. So I had them all marked down roughly where I thought they were. But as I crept up to them, unshipped the fly ready to cover them, one would spook, and it's because they weren't out feeding where they had been. They'd actually gone and tucked away under the banks. So it was all a bit sketchy. I wasn't enjoying it, and the time was ticking.
Yes!
Fallait que tout le monde siffle. C'était un joli championnat du monde. Yes.
What do you want the documentary to capture, and what do you think it's really important for people to know about this level of competition fishing?
I think really what I wanted to get across when I sort of agreed to do this on camera was I wanted to get across to people the sort of the level of dedication and commitment that's needed to compete at this level in fly fishing. It's as much as any other sport out there. You know, I also hope that it would bring a little bit more sort of focus to what we do, the effort we all put in, both financially and, you know, time-wise and commitment-wise, and maybe encourage a few more people, you know, to look at competition fly fishing and see the benefits it can bring to you as an angler. You'll learn more, you'll learn faster, you get to fish in some incredible locations, you get to fish with like-minded people, you get to, you know, see how people fish from other countries, and it really opens your mind up, even if you fly fish for a long time, as to things that you maybe don't do yourself in your own fishing, or things that you've never seen. So I wanted to do it for a number of levels, and I'll be honest, selfishly I also wanted to do it so that when I retire, which is actually not that far away, I know I've been saying I'm going to retire for the last 5 years, but I wanted something to be able to look back on and remind myself and see what it is I'm missing when I've retired from it, because I will miss it when I stop. You know, it's one of the things that drives me, and I'm already planning now and prepping and tying ready for Czech. You know, we go in, it's not quite 6 months, but it's heading towards that. So yeah, there's a lot to get done before then, so we'll just plough on, one fly at a time.
Je parle, des fois tu ne m'entends pas, comme un écho qui s'évapore dans l'univers.
Hi guys, one last thing before I go. I'd just like to say a massive thanks to the individuals and the companies that have sponsored Team England World Team for the 2024 World Fly Fishing Championship. Without you guys, we honestly couldn't do it. It's been a massive help to us, the support that you've offered. And just like to say a big thank you to you all from myself personally and from the team. If anybody is thinking of sponsoring the team, feel free to reach out to us. All sponsorship and funding is greatly accepted and put to very, very good use. Ultimately, final thanks has to be to all of our families, because all of us in Team England couldn't do what we do year in, year out. The dedication, the time away from home, without support of our families. So thank you to everybody who supports and pushes Team England fly fishing.